to Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen, Back to School Edition.
Welcome to Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. This is our 42nd show. I'm Brooke Allen. Thank you for being with us. Of course, we are broadcasting live from the My Michigan TV studios in Troy, Michigan. Well, August seems to be the month we celebrate all things cars, classic, and even cyber. And our giveaway this month is a collection of all the events that have happened around town and that we were lucky enough to be a part of. The Troy Traffic Jam, the Woodward Dream Cruise, and of course just this last weekend, oh my God, it was so much fun. The Marysville Hot Wheels weekend, what a cool event that was. Jason and I were lucky enough to be judges for the pinup contest. And we even met Eric Estrada and Larry Wilcox from Chips. It was awesome. You can still be entered to win our giveaway. Of course, Jason will join us at the end of the show to tell us how. There are a lot of cool things in here, including some car socks. Who doesn't need some car socks, right? Well, grab your coffee and settle in. It is time for our Women in Business segment. And based on the U.S. housing market data, fall to winter is the best time to buy real estate, and the best time for bargains may actually be the winter months. However, the process of buying and selling a home changing. August 17th, new industry regulations took effect, impacting both buyers and sellers. It has been, in complete transparency, crazy confusing. And we have Jeanette Schneider here. And Jeanette, you are all things housing. You're with RE/MAX. You are the president, right? And
yes.
Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
So, kind of break this down, because I know we've been hearing about it in the news.
Yes.
And now things are finally in effect.
Correct. They went into effect on August 17th, and I think there's a couple of things if we can maybe start from the top and work our way down, because there are changes for both buyers and sellers, but also for agents. And so the first thing that I want to say is give each other grace right now, because everybody's kind of learning a little bit of a new dance together, first and foremost. One of the things that came out when the settlement with the National Association of Realtors, NARS, right? When they settled, and it kind of got widely put out into the press real quickly, was that the 6% commission that had always been established could now be negotiable. Well, the first thing is it's always been negotiable.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, and it remains negotiable now. So I mean, but that was one thing that got picked up and like
people
wildfire.
Ran with it, right?
People ran with it. So the first thing I want to make sure people understand is, that has always been negotiable and it remains negotiable. So there's that.
Okay.
So let's take maybe from the seller's perspective. Okay, to start there. So we'll go with sellers. What changes for them since August 17th? Well, typically, if you were going to list your house, you meet with maybe an agent or multiple agents you're interviewing. You find the one you want to work with. You're going to fill out the form, and there probably was going to be some conversation about compensation. And there may have been a percentage thrown out. 6% is kind of, 5 or 6% was kind of an average. And that commission was actually split between two parties, the agent representing you and the agent that was going to be representing and bringing the buyer, okay? And maybe that wasn't as widely understood or explained as it should have been. So one of the good things to come out of this from a consumer perspective is there's now going to be dialogue about this between your agent and you, understanding, here's what are you willing to pay me? We're going to negotiate that. And where the shift starts to happen now is historically agents were able to put into the multiple lister service, the MLS,
right? Okay.
They were able to put in like all the details about a house. One of the details was a compensation field. So it was very transparent within the industry. My seller's willing to pay, you as a buyer's agent, we all kind of know how this is going to work. They can no longer put that information in the MLS.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so that's going to be gone.
That is gone.
That's gone.
That's gone. So now what this means, and especially right now as we're doing the initial transition, and I think this will settle over time, but right now the settlement allowed for brokerages to potentially offer, if the seller was willing to pay a buyer's agent, they could put it on a brokerage like office level website. But the Department of Justice is in the background saying, yeah, we understand that you have the settlement. We don't know that we like that settlement. We don't like the fact that there's even the thought of, the compensation being split between two parties. We really want this to be negotiable. So where we really see this going is seller maybe, explain why they might want to consider offering a percentage or some compensation to the buyer's agent, but where this is really going to go, I believe, it's going to become part of the offer that the buyer is requesting when they're looking to buy a house.
I mean, it seems like it has to be written in.
Yeah, it's going to have to be, and I think that's where this is going to go. So if you're looking to buy a house, now in addition to maybe asking for the washer, the dryer, the refrigerator,
Right.
you're going to ask for that to be in there, and it's going to come as a request from the buyer to the seller. Agents are still going to negotiate, all of this.
Okay, and I assume both agents have to agree. What happens?
Well, the
if
buyer and the
they-
seller have to, basically agree, because that's where it's going to start.
Okay.
Is, does seller agree to do this? And yes, if they do, then there'll be another agree. No, there's going to be lots of new forms.
Lots of new
Lots of new
forms.
forms.
Yay.
Yeah, that both agents are going to acknowledge that yes, they understand this as well.
Okay.
So again, from that side of things, from the seller's side of things, maybe not as much, but just a little bit more clarity and understanding how the request is going to come, and that the seller still ultimately decides what they're comfortable and willing to do. There's just going to be more conversation around it.
This has been super confusing. And so as far as the buyer or seller, who does this impact more?
I think the buyers, and here's why. Because on the buyer side, what changes for them is, in addition to now, there's going to have to be some dialogue with the agent representing them. Right? And in part because of the settlement, in part because of this is probably all shifting.
Right.
And one of the first things a buyer's going to notice moving forward now is if you're out looking for homes, and a lot of folks, before they get serious, they start to tire kick, right? They start to go out and take a look.
Sure.
And they're going to have to sign a buyer's representation agreement with an agent before seeing a home.
You mean to even go to houses now?
Yes.
Okay, so if you see an open house, those are open.
Those are still
Okay,
open,
so
and you
those
still
are still
can,
open.
you can
You can
still
still
go
wander in
there
and do that.
and you can talk to an agent.
But if I want to call my agent and say, hey, I want to see this house.
I want to see this one. Now there's going to be, you have to have an agreement signed. Now, in fairness, about 20 states in our country were already requiring this.
Okay.
30 were not. So
Was
it's
it
new for
because
some.
people were wasting agents' times by
No,
looking
it
at?
had more to do with representation. It wasn't so much the wasting of time.
Okay.
There can be some of that, but no, it had more to do with being clear about how you're being represented. And the reality of it is a lot of times buyers are just going out. I just want to see a house. I'm not even sure I'm ready to buy.
Right, or they want to look at the neighborhood.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
See what their money gets in different areas. Well, it was done. The settlement, says this was done for the protection of buyers, so that there's dialogue up front with them by an agent that they wish to have, representing them about, first of all, how is that agent going to get paid? Because this opens up a whole new, avenue, which really hadn't really been there much before, because it could be, well, I'm going to agree as the buyer to pay you a flat fee. I'm going to agree as the buyer to pay you an hourly fee, which I really don't see happening. Or I'm going to agree to pay you, a percentage, of whatever the sales, price may be.
Because it's always been a percentage.
Typically it's always been a percentage, and the buyer didn't typically have to worry about it much because historically seller was taking care of that. So the couple of things now when you've got the new agreement, first is going to be is how long is this agreement I'm signing with you going to last?
Oh.
Is it exclusive?
Right.
Like we're in it, and we're in it for, it could be a year before you find a house, but we're in it together.
Right.
Or are we in it for the weekend because you want to see this, and that house? Or, so you can get very specific to, I want you to show me this house, and once you've done that, unless I buy that house, we're done. Or it can be, I want to see these houses. Or it can be, we're going to do this for a week or a month. So there's a lot of flexibility in there as far as the timing of it.
So would this be considered a contract?
Yes.
It is, right?
Yeah, it's an agreement.
It's an agreement.
It's an agreement that
okay.
parties are signing.
Okay,
yes.
so it's an agreement. And how do agents feel about this?
It's interesting because there's been a mix of reaction. I think the more experienced of an agent, in the marketplace, the more that they're rolling with it. They're saying, hey, look, we've been through a lot of things. We've been through the invention of the internet. We've been through the Great Recession. We've been through COVID where we did closings in parking lots. We've been through all of these things. This is really just two different conversations. We're still talking to buyers and sellers. We are going to have to do a better job articulating our value and articulating what this means for buyers and sellers and why they're signing maybe things slightly different than they had in the past. Both, the new forms are also going to have, clauses in there that, commissions are negotiable. So if somebody, tried to slip that past before, it's going to be in writing. It's going to be in writing and right there. So it's going to force some, very open and transparent conversations. I think the more novice an agent is, and if it's somebody who maybe does real estate on the side, this is probably a lot more daunting for that group.
And there are a lot of agents who do it part-time.
There are, and that's why I'm going to go back and say it's really, I've always felt it's been important. This is, for most people, this is the single largest financial investment an asset that they're going to own. You want a professional working for you.
You don't want to sell your house. Okay, so what about the people who are like, you know what, I'm just going to sell it on my own?
That always remains an option.
Okay.
I mean, that doesn't change. But I mean, over the years, and I would say, boy, if there's ever been a market where somebody could have thought about doing it, it'd be recently, because it's been a seller's market. But there's the threats of the lawsuits and litigation, and really understanding everything that needs to get done to get, the home. It's not just putting a sign in the yard and being willing to open your home up to strangers to come in.
No, there's a lot.
There's a lot that goes to it, and nowadays, especially with the market being the way it is, where you have some buyers that are making the choice to not have inspections or do these appraisal waivers and guarantees. What we're seeing on the back end of this now is there's some regret in some decisions that were made, which usually show up in the way of lawsuits.
Right.
And so it's like, I would say you want to work with a professional, and especially somebody who not only has experience but has good experience negotiating, because this is a new landscape, and there is going to be, while there's always been negotiated on price and terms in which appliances stay or go.
Right.
I mean, now we're talking about compensation maybe getting negotiated in here as well.
So how do you find that out about somebody's negotiating skills?
A couple of different ways. I mean, ask how long they've been in the business. You can ask them. Do you have there's a designation, and I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but there's a professional designation that realtors can get.
Okay.
That says they've taken classes to get even better at negotiating. So that would be a question you can ask.
Okay. And then what about as far as, just going back to the home, the sellers, right? So they're getting ready to sell their home. What is the one thing they should consider, especially as now, we're getting into the fall?
Sellers, I think, is an interesting time in the market, because historically, you're right, in your lead-in, you said, fall, winter tends to be a little bit better, as far as there's maybe less heat. Well, it's better for buyers because there's usually less heated competition. But the market we have right now, it's a seller's market. It's going to, I believe, remain a seller's market, even if more inventory comes on, which we're expecting with interest rates likely to fall. With the Fed likely to make their move in September, it's likely to have interest rates coming down a little, which are going to do two things. It's going to have some buyers get off the fence, because we've had some buyers listening to all of this, saying, I might wait till fall. The Fed, I think, is going to do something. I'm going to wait till the rates come into the low sixes, which is fine. I totally get it. But you're going to have a lot of people that had the same
idea,
same mindset. So you really didn't stop competition. You just jumped in with a lot of other competition. Sellers, I think we've got a lot of folks that have been hanging on to the homes because they had low interest rate, and psychologically they were having a hard time.
Yeah, it's like, oh, do I want to let this go?
I don't want to let my 3% rate go.
For sure.
For a 7%, for a 7% rate.
Break that down real quick, because that adds a lot of money.
It can add hundreds of dollars to your monthly mortgage payment. It really does. But we've got a lot of people that love their rate, as I say. They don't love their home anymore. They've outgrown it, or they're empty nesters, or whatever.
They just want to change.
They want to change, and they've been hanging on. Well, if and when interest rates come down, kind of there's a point under 6.8, under 6.5, that becomes a trigger for a lot of people.
Okay.
If it's over that, they can't talk themselves into it. Once you start getting into that
then
range,
it's kind of like, I can talk myself into this. I can justify this.
I can justify it. So I think we're going to see some additional sellers coming to the market too. But again, that buyer demand is going to be, one for one, if not more. So I think it's going to remain a seller's market. So I really do feel that sellers are in a good position.
Okay.
Of course, in my industry, I would not recommend doing it yourself. I just think you are much better served. It's a highly emotional transaction too, let's be honest. And when it's your house, do you take feedback really well when somebody doesn't like your color choice?
Absolutely not.
They don't like your color choice. No. They don't like the theme of your home.
Right.
They don't particularly care for the update that you did. And they're going to, they say, well, that doesn't mean anything to me. Well, it meant something to you.
Yes.
And you need kind of that person in the middle that isn't emotionally attached to the money spent on the new kitchen or the new bath or whatever it was.
Right.
And let them negotiate for you.
Okay. So one more question. What is the hottest zip code?
Oh, the hottest zip code. There's probably a lot of them right now. I don't know for sure what the hottest one would be, but I would say anything that it's a first-time buyer market is going to be hot. Because we've got a lot of first-time buyers out there. So you find, homes that are under $250, and you can have a wide range of them throughout the metro area. On the west side, it'd be like Livonia, Garden City. You get to the east side, it might be more like a St. Clair Shores, Roseville, those types of communities. Any of those are going to be hot right now because there's so many first-time buyers in the market.
I live in Berkeley. exactly. And it's amazing. You can see the for sale sign one day, and then the next day I'm walking the dog and it's gone.
It's, I mean, it is amazing.
Or it says sold,
It
actually.
says sold, I mean, because there are still multiple offers, maybe not as many as there have been a few years ago, but at the right price points for a house that's been meticulously maintained and it's priced right, absolutely, they are still, I mean, average days on market is still like 30.
Is it really?
Yeah, I mean, so that's still a relatively short period of time. I mean, it's gone up and down a couple of days,
Right.
here and there this year, but I mean, you take into fact, you can put your house on the market and relatively be confident it's likely going to be sold in less than a month. That's pretty good.
Yeah, my mom, they put their house on the market and it was sold within 3 days.
We bought and sold earlier this year.
Okay.
And we went on the market on Friday. By Sunday, we had multiple offers. And by Sunday night, we had chose one and we closed in less than a month.
And you got to be ready to move when that happens.
Yes, and and you think I would have been better prepared for this?
Yes, I'm a little surprised by this, Jeanette. What is happening?
And we were prepared, but
Right.
it happened so quick that at the end when you're packing some stuff, we needed help. Like, okay, some stuff
like,
needs to go to the
come on.
junkyard, and some needs to go here, and I need help because I thought I was in control of this, but it happened
It
like
moves
that.
fast.
It really does.
Yeah, and so I think that's a whole nother aspect that people have to kind of be prepared for.
Yeah, when you put your house on the market,
You have to know that you may have to be out of there soon.
yeah, I mean, especially if you get a cash offer and somebody that's serious
Right.
and has lost out on others,
Yeah.
Because whether it's an investor or you've got a, younger couple that's getting help from a parent or a grandparent, which is not unusual these days.
Right.
And if they have a cash, they can close relatively quickly. So yeah, the days of putting it on the market and I'll kind of continue to pack on the back end,
Right, no.
not so much.
You got to go.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thank you so much, Jeanette. It is a pleasure. We've talked for years over the phone.
Yes.
A pleasure to finally meet you in person.
Same here.
I appreciate you coming and kind of breaking this down for us because it's been confusing.
There's been a lot of press, and I mean, I think it'll take a few months for things to settle,
Okay.
but we'll get there.
Okay, we'll get there, and thank you for helping us
My
get there.
pleasure.
I appreciate it. And again, that is Jeanette Schneider. She is the president of Southeast Michigan RE/MAX. This is Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. Thanks so much for being with us, of course. And I am excited about this because I have a dentist and an MD with me right now, Dr. Robert John, and you are the founder of Troy Oral Surgery. And,
Yes.
And Dr., so I told you this when you walked in, I'm always kind of like, oh, hi, it's a dentist. I don't want him to think that, oh, what's wrong with her teeth? Or, I mean, it's very interesting how you feel when you know somebody is kind of looking at you like you're looking at me now.
Yes. A little apprehensive.
A little
judgmental.
So I'm just going to do this the whole time. So you are actually a dentist and an MD.
Actually, I'm an oral maxillofacial surgeon, which is actually a subspecialty of dentistry.
Okay, so what is that?
So we do more or less everything from the collarbones up.
Okay.
So we do from the basic dental extractions, including wisdom teeth and dental implants, to cancer surgery, reconstruction, fixing traumatic injuries of the head and neck region.
How long has Troy Oral Surgery been around?
So I actually have been in private practice for over 20 years, and I opened Troy in February of this year.
Okay.
It's something I was eyeing for about, just before COVID. And I've been in practice in the Warren and Oxford areas, and this area was closer to home.
Okay.
And actually I came close to opening back in late 19, and we all know what happened in 2020.
Correct.
So that was put on hold, and then the opportunity arose once again, and I jumped at it. And so we're happy to be here in Troy.
So it's interesting because you kind of hear you can detect a lot of problems throughout the body with your teeth.
Well, it's actually more than just the teeth. It's like the oral cavity.
Right.
I mean, some people, one of the first signs of jaundice is shown in the mouth. You can see some people, when we talk about babies having thrush and adults have thrush, it could be a first sign of diabetes. And a lot of people miss that.
That is so, yeah. And then you also mentioned trauma. So
Yes.
kind of explain that to us.
Oh, well, I trained at Detroit Receiving Hospital.
Okay.
And we were covering St. John, Maross, Receiving, Harper, and Henry Ford, all level 1 facilities. So our training is pretty extensive in facial trauma. Trauma that from simple slip and fall incidents to motor vehicle accidents to gunshot wounds, all the way to interpersonal violence, So we do take care of all the trauma, soft tissue and hard tissue, like cuts, abrasions, bones breaking, to actually reconstruction from top to bottom.
How has the industry changed for you since you've been practicing?
I mean, so there's been a lot of change in technology, right? That's a huge, huge thing. Things that we used to do manually, we can do virtually, or we're using computer CT, computer tomograms, in addition with the advent of these scanners, that we can avoid doing like dental impressions, and we go right into these things that we can plan surgically, which seem to be more accurate and less time-consuming in making, and get a better result in the final product.
Okay, so what about AI?
AI is still AI has kind of been incorporated into that, not to the extent that we're seeing in other fields of medicine, because we're still hands-on.
Right.
You know, they still need us so far.
They still need you, right? So what about for students who are going into dentistry, oral surgery? I mean, what do you say to them?
You know, this is a marathon, it's not a sprint. I would tell you the best bet if you're trying to figure out this is a career path for you, you know, you should try and mentor or shadow, right? Seek out someone who's in the business, someone who has more of a wider scope of practice than just sitting in their office. Right. So you get a good feel for what's going on. You have to also realize that this is not for the faint of heart. You know, there is a time commitment involved. We're one of the longest residencies in the medical field.
Really? How long?
Yeah. So it could be anywhere from 4 to 7 years after dental school.
Okay.
You know, so there's a time commitment involved, and you have to be prepared to put in the time and the effort.
What about as far as patients go? Do you see children all the way up to adults? Or?
Yeah. I mean, I had to take care of a neonate back at Corewell Health, Royal Oak, just a couple weeks ago. Okay. You know, we're not really the internal medicine med peds type where to say womb to the tomb.
Right.
But by the same token, we do take care of all ages. We do have a subset of specialty that does pediatric maxillofacial surgery as well.
Okay.
So those are people who are trained in they're more doing the, you know, the cleft lip and palate, the craniosynostosis, like I don't hate to say birth defects because it's really not that, you know, but we have different elements in our society that can handle those type of situations.
So I think it's interesting when years ago I did have a tooth chip, and how embarrassing, you know, your teeth, and you know, you want to smile, and you want, you know, that's just how you greet people. Mm-hmm. And if you're kind of embarrassed of your smile, then you don't do it. Right, so the impact of not have, you know, of your teeth really does play a huge part in your life.
Actually, I'll take it a step further.
Okay.
I had a patient who, God bless his mom, she was a big advocate for him. She had adopted him from Russia, and he had that Jay Leno type of profile. And his teeth were bad because a lot of kids that come over from there's always a nutrition issue. So it was a multi-team approach with general dentistry, cosmetic dentistry, orthodontics, and us. So we actually corrected his jaw and his facial profile, and with conjunction with orthodontics, corrected his bite, and then the cosmetic dentist did the finishing touches. It changed his life immensely. He went from that shy person who wasn't talking to people to someone who was really out there and became a player on the scene.
That's funny. So how does that make you feel when you see those changes?
It felt me good until it really made me feel good to see that the confidence come up. Unfortunately, his mom passed prior to the completion of it, so that was a big thing for him. He was a little saddened about that.
I'm sure.
But I also have a daughter, so I wanted to keep him away from my daughter.
Yeah, right? You're like, okay, this kid is like a major player
Exactly.
That is awesome. Okay, so accepting new patients?
Always.
Okay.
I mean, we're there, we're open. We are a full scope oral maxillofacial surgical practice. We're always available. We take most insurances because most people ask about that.
For sure.
And we're very proud of our office. We're a state-of-the-art facility. It's modern, it's clean. You know, it's accessible. Right there off of Big Beaver and Crooks.
Oh, okay, so close. Yeah. What, as far as the team that worked with you, How many people do you have?
We have about 10 staff members in total. Some people have been with me for over 20 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
So retention is good, especially in today's.
And that says a lot.
It says a lot from both sides,
Yeah.
right? So obviously I must be doing something well, and they must be doing something well to stay with us and stay in the group.
Well, thank you so much. I know you have surgery.
I
You have
do.
a surgery,
I
so you
do.
have to go. So
Yes.
thank you so much for
Well, I
making
appreciate
the time.
Thank you for having us.
Oh no, I appreciate it, and it's just so interesting. I do have my 12-year-old twins, and they're always wandering around, wanting their teeth whitened, and I'm like, you're too young. Try baking soda.
Yeah, or stay away from the coffee.
Well, yeah, there is that. Never mind. Thank you, Doctor.
Thanks.
It was a pleasure
Nice
to meet
meeting
you.
you.
Nice
Thank
to meet
you.
you. Thank you so much. And again, that is our Dr. Robert John. Thank you so much for being with us. This is Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. And one of the things that goes with buying a new home or even car, like I did last week, is insurance. And whether it be home, auto, business, or life insurance, Lynn Sterla with Michigan Farm Bureau Insurance can help you design the policy that's right for you and your family. So you have exactly the coverage you need when you need it and at the best price possible. You can find everything you need at LynnSterlaInsurance.com. Well, this is Caffeinated Conversations, and it is the end of August, which means back to school and back to reality, which may mean making all of those doctor appointments you put off during your vacation plans, and that does include the dentist. Of course, we just spoke to Dr. Robert John, who is the founder of Troy Oral Surgery. And I am with Monty Must. You are a master photographer. And thank you so much for joining us. You have a big event coming up in September.
Yes.
And first of all, tell me as far as the name of this, because it is quite amazing, this project that you've been working on for years.
Yes, so the name of the project is Living Witnesses. We have 2 different volumes. The first one was Detroit Survivors, and we called it Faces of the Holocaust. And then we ended up doing a international series, Living Witnesses, Triumph Over Tragedy, because that's basically what it was.
Yes.
Right.
So you have traveled the world.
Yes.
You've
yes.
traveled the world and have spoken with survivors. And tell me, how long has this project been going on?
Well, we started it in 2008, and we finished in 2011.
Okay.
So traveling. And it was like fast and furious. There are 300 survivors, 400 survivors between the 2 of these. Okay. And it was a marathon. I felt like we were working against time.
Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And you got to do these interviews and take these pictures. And for you personally, what has it done for you and meant to you?
Well, the impetus for the project itself came out of a tragedy itself. My daughter passed, and I was frantic. That's putting it lightly. And work has always been a filler for me. Mm. And I was terrified that the world was never going to get to experience Maya. And I needed to have everyone, especially myself and my family, remember her. And I just didn't know how to go about that. And then it came to me, it was kind of like a lightning bolt, that Holocaust survivors who had endured such horrible atrocities and personal tragedies, how did they go on? Mm-hmm. Even how would I go on?
Right.
And how did they remember their loved ones? So I reached out, and we had offered a dinner, and I just said, I'm a photographer, I'd like to take your portrait and take the history of, what has happened, and we would like just show up. And 100 people showed up.
Wow.
It was really overwhelming and crazy.
I'm sure.
And within that meeting, within a week, we were scheduling and started the
marathon
interview.
began,
Yeah,
huh?
and the marathon began. And within, I think from the time we started, we were done photographing by March, April of the following year. And then we published it, and by Rosh Hashanah, we had launched our first copy.
Okay, and this book right here, this is
This is the first one, Living Witnesses. I'm sorry about the condition
No.
of this, but it's significant only because all these papers signify the people who have passed in this book. And that in itself is kind of a testimony for why it needed to be done.
So you as a photographer have been able to capture the essence of these survivors. And
Yeah.
for you, how is that when you're behind the camera, knowing their stories and knowing your own? How is that?
This is the thing, is when you come to me for a portrait, and these people I handled a little bit differently in that Linda, who will be on later, Linda and I would walk into their homes, and Linda would sit down with them at a table and, talk to them, and I would be walking through their house, because when you just had this woman on, when you walk into somebody's house, you learn the flavor and the personality of who this person is. And you learn about, I looked at like all the things that were out on display, and I could visualize who this person was. And so I tried to incorporate that with part of what their story was and who they are as a person now, not who they were then, but kind of merged it. And I didn't want it to be this depressing book. The verbiage in here, their biographies, are sad in itself. But when you look at their portraits, you will not see sadness.
No, they're actually all smiling.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, they have, you learn, here's Edka. I mean, this portrait was done because her family was the main part of her life. And
I want
so,
to see if we can, just because this is such an amazing picture, and I don't know if we can.
so I photographed her, grabbed all the pictures around her house, and photographed her surrounded by her family. But anyway, it's so it was meant to be a portrait book of who they are from the inside out. And you have one shot. How do you display that with that one shot? And so every single portrait in these volumes tell a story of who this person was. And every single item, every single prop, it's not a prop, but everything that is in that portrait, there was a significant reason for. And so what I would do is I would redesign their house or wherever we were, and they didn't know what was going on, because I'd walk in and I'd go into their closet and I'd go into their drawers, and they let me.
I was just going to say,
They let me.
They let you.
They let me.
See, and that says a lot that they let you.
I mean, really, for people who had lost trust in people, they let Linda and I come into their house.
Right. And sit with them.
And sit with them.
And take their pictures.
And which is really quite amazing, because there were not a lot, but there were a significant amount of people who had never told their story to anyone.
Oh.
And they opened up to us.
How many portraits altogether?
There are 400, 300 in here, 100 in here.
Detroit, okay.
Okay,
So you are actually going to be at the Detroit Historical Society.
Yes.
That is September 8th. You're going to be signing the books. There'll be a slideshow.
and you get a copy of the books for free.
Right. So, and how are you hoping that this impacts education and future generations?
Well, this is the thing. They are removed, our generation now coming up are removed from Holocaust survivors. And there's so many things that have happened in our world. And this is, when you think about it, when we would walk into somebody's house, the first thing they would do is show us a photograph. And that is the proof of that they survived and who they were. And so I'm hopeful that this will be used as a learning tool and make it real.
Mm-hmm. No, thank you so much for sharing your story and these pictures. I've seen them before. And just looking at them, I mean, it's a portrait of their life.
Yes.
By looking through it through your lens.
Right.
You know, and knowing the conversations that happened with you and Linda at their tables. It's an amazing thing.
Yes.
So thank you so
Yes.
much for joining us.
Oh, you're
I
welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We do have the QR code will be up there, I think, and people can scan that. It's a free event, but registration, you guys want the registration?
Yes.
There it is right there. So, and that starts at 1 o'clock, or is it? It starts at 1 o'clock, but there's a lot
Right,
involved in this
yes,
day.
there's a signing before and a signing after.
And a panel
there's
discussion.
A panel discussion, questions and answers, and
Okay. All right. Come and meet Linda and Monty, and thank you again, Monty, for sharing
thank you
your
so
story.
much.
I appreciate
By
it.
the way, and I also have to say, the person who wrote all the bios was my daughter Sabrina,
Oh.
who is a writer. So,
I saw the name on the side.
yep, Sabrina, yep.
All right.
So,
Thank you so much.
thank you, appreciate it.
Oh, no.
Thank you.
Thank you. And again, that is Monty Musk, master photographer. And of course, you can register for the event. That is happening September 8th. And there will be a slideshow, also a panel discussion taking place on that day, which is a Sunday. It is time for our Great Lakes Made segment. Pot pies get a bad rap. Some people say you can only have them when the temps cool off, but I totally disagree. In fact, today it's supposed to be 95 degrees, but you know what? I can always eat a pot pie. Janny Teitelbaum, you are the owner of Great Lakes Pot Pies in Clawson.
Yes.
And thanks for joining us. You always have something new that you're coming up with. So what's on the menu Thanksgiving? Soon?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me about that.
Thanksgiving will be available September 1st.
And when you call it Thanksgiving in a pie,
Thanksgiving
right?
in a pie. This is our third or fourth year. I'm losing track.
Yes.
So the first layer is stuffing, and then we do some sweet potatoes and cranberries and turkey filling that's got green beans and lots of vegetables, and it's covered with a cornmeal crust. And we put pretty fall leaves on it with
Yes,
cranberries.
it's always a beautiful,
and,
beautiful
yes.
pot pie. But if Thanksgiving in a pie, if it's too early for you for that, then you guys have so many more options. And I assume the chicken one is the most popular.
Yeah, always. And then beef stew, and we have pasty, a vegetarian. We have vegan options.
Gluten-free?
We have gluten-free.
Gluten-free?
We have a chicken gluten-free. And right now we have a little bit of our chili left.
Oh, do you really?
Yes,
Okay.
we made some extra
My
because
dad
that
was just
so-
asking me about that.
we have a few
I'm like,
left.
I think we missed it. So chili, okay, so the chili, what's that one? The crust on that?
It's cornmeal
It
also.
is, right? Okay.
Yeah, so that's
And not
really
too
good.
spicy?
Nope,
Not
no,
too-
we do
okay.
that so that it's good that everybody can eat it.
Right, for sure. And then, okay, so you also have some dessert pies. Mm-hmm. Okay, so which ones are those?
So we do chocolate pecan, and we have apple, and we have a new s'mores. But
Oh,
we
how's that
did,
going?
it's really good. We're just doing it in the smaller size and in hand pies. And
Is
we
that
put,
a permanent?
I think so.
Okay, my kids were asking, I wondered.
I think so because it's been so popular. There's also chocolate chip cookie dough in it.
Oh, is there really?
Yeah, in the s'more, so it's really good.
Well, you know, when I took that home, they were digging into it, and, you know, I can't eat it because I'm allergic to chocolate, but they're like, oh, this is delightful. And for them to say it's delightful must mean it's good.
Oh, good. There's marshmallow fluff and marshmallows in it.
Okay, so
So
that
it's really
may or
good.
may not be a permanent.
I'm thinking it probably will be because we're getting a lot of really good feedback.
Well, plus the holidays coming up, people might want those, right, for the holiday.
Yeah.
But will it always be the smaller?
Not sure.
Okay, all right, I won't put you on the
We'll have
spot
to
for
see.
that.
We'll have
Okay.
to see.
All right, so Thanksgiving in a pie coming up, and then any new flavors?
So
or-
what we're going to do is we're going to have some more limited time flavors.
Okay.
And we'll probably make them in small and hand pie, probably not the big pie, and we'll just make a bunch of them. And if there's one that everybody loves, we might make it permanent. I don't know.
And in an
We'll have to
actual
see.
full size?
And in a full size,
Okay,
yeah.
so you did mention ham pies, which these are great because they're good for lunches and even if you're on the go heading out to work or whatever. So what flavors are those?
Right, so all of our pies are available in hand pies. So the chicken, beef stew, pasty, vegetarian, the gluten-free chicken, the vegan, everything.
Okay.
And they're great for kids for back to school because they can go in the microwave. That's the only pie that we have that's pre-cooked. So it's better in the oven, but in the microwave.
But when they gotta go, they gotta go,
Yeah,
right?
gotta
So you
go,
wrap
yep.
it in foil and send it on their way.
And you can eat it in the car.
Exactly. What
And-
about breakfast ones?
Yep, so we have our breakfast ham pies. We have broccoli and cheese, bacon cheddar, and sausage, and those are great, and the kids love them for breakfast, or, you can send them for lunch.
Yeah, no, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's for Brinner, right?
Yeah.
Breakfast and dinner combination. Okay, so if you are in Clausenau 14 Mile, but you are also in local stores.
We're in a lot of
You're in a lot
stores,
of
and I don't
stores.
want to start, I'll forget
that's fine.
somebody, and but we're in a lot of stores, probably 200 in Michigan right
Okay,
now.
so 200 in Michigan, and then as far as ordering online, still doing that?
Yes, we ship all over the country. It takes either 1 or 2 days to get there. We pack them really good.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you go on our website, which is being redone right now, so be patient, we have these shipping bundles and we ship all over the country.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I know I do have to say that when there's a birthday or a new baby, I'm always like, oh, I'm gonna go get a pot pie because it's the
Yeah.
perfect gift. They'll use it.
Yeah.
Right? So
And they last a year and a half in the freezer.
do they really?
Yes, so you can come in and buy a bunch, and that one night when the weather's bad, the snowstorm, it's raining out, and you don't know what to do for dinner, it's about 55 minutes, it's
Oh.
done, right freezer to oven.
I can't believe you mentioned snowstorm.
I know, sorry.
Let's not talk about that yet. It's 95 degrees today. Any deals going on?
Not right now.
Okay.
But we
But
will.
you always do.
We
You
always
you
do,
always
yeah.
All right. Well, listen, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to see you. And Thanksgiving in a Pie, when is that one coming out?
September 1st.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're getting close.
Yep, we have hand pies, the little ones and the big ones, and we just made our first batch of gravy.
Oh, all right. I'm excited.
So
You
we're
know
all
you'll
set.
see me soon. Thank you so much. And that is Janny Teitelbaum. She is the founder of Great Lakes Pot Pies in Clawson, right there on 14 Mile. This is Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. I'm Brooke Allen. Thank you for being with us today. You know, summer is almost over when we are talking about Arts, Beats, and Eats in Royal Oak. It is a family favorite and all the fun. That kicks off later this week. It is the 27th annual Arts, Beats, and Eats,
Correct.
right?
Yeah, this is our
That is
27th
kind
year, I
of
know.
crazy.
It
I
is.
cannot even believe it. And thank you
know.
so much for being with us, of course. Shannon Voitage, you are the arts director
Correct.
of the Soaring Eagle Arts, Beats, and Eats.
Presented by Flagstar.
Presented by Flagstar.
Correct,
Let's make sure we get all of it in for you. How exciting is this?
Oh, I mean, it is my favorite time of the year. I love Arts, Beats, and Eats. And someone, one of our Royal Oak restaurants told me the other day, he said, oh, it's Christmas time in Royal Oak. That's what Arts, Beats, and Eats is. And I thought that was such a great way to describe it.
It is, right?
Yeah.
So I cannot believe it's the 27th.
I can't either. I mean, I've been with the company, I think, for 16 or 18 years now. So I've
Okay.
been there since we were back in Pontiac. And then
Pontiac,
I was
okay,
there through
yeah.
the move to Royal Oak. And it's been so amazing just watching the event grow and change over
And
the
you know,
years.
you guys have so much that goes on. I mean, between
do, we
the
really do.
concert series, the food, the art, I mean, everything. So what are the highlights this year?
Well, everyone always wants to know about the music, of
Yes,
course. So
of course.
on Friday we have Tesla and Cheap Trick.
Okay.
Saturday is Dustin Lynch. Sunday is Chevelle and the Gin Blossoms, and Monday
Really?
is Keith Sweat. Yeah. So our tagline has always been something for everyone, and it truly is.
It
I mean,
really
you can see it in the
is.
music line alone. It's
Yeah,
like,
for
you know,
sure.
pick which day you want to come and join us.
And you know, this is a family-friendly event.
It is,
It's
yes.
a lot of fun. Great food. So, what about some of the food options?
I mean, we
Anything
have
new?
like the North End Tap Room is a new one out of Royal Oak.
Okay.
Some of my favorites though that are coming back is the Drunken Rooster food truck and Fork in Nigeria, which if you've never had Nigerian cuisine is
it's
amazing.
excellent, right? It
Yes,
is so good.
Yeah, you should find that truck if you're coming this year.
And then I think last year there was a pancake in a cup. There was something very.
It
was a very large pancake in a cup, but yes.
Yes,
So
that's
that
correct.
was, and then a lot of activities, of course. So this starts Friday.
It does. Friday
Okay, so
through
it starts
Monday.
out Friday. It's in Royal Oak. So kind of give us the layout of this, because I know people sometimes are always like.
I mean, there's so much
Where-
that it can
yeah.
be overwhelming
Yes,
at times.
for
so
sure.
the way that the site is actually laid out, so we go all the way from almost 11 mile all the way down almost to Lincoln. It's almost a full mile long.
Okay.
So in the north area of the festival is where we actually have a small carnival, and then a food show comes straight down Washington. And then if you head east or west, either way, you'll find one of our 9 local stages.
Okay.
And then as you head straight south, once you pass 7th Street, you'll hit the Druid Fine Art Show.
Okay, so
which
let's.
I'm partial to,
I know.
of course.
So yeah. So tell us about that a little.
So the Druid Fine Art Show will feature 125 artists from across the country in 10 different mediums, everything from glass to jewelry, painting, photography, sculpture, and we even have live tattooing this year, which I am
Really?
super excited about. Yeah.
So that sounds a little okay. So live tattooing happening, and out of all those artists, how many of those are returning artists? And
So that's what I love about the show this year is when I was looking at, it's a juried process. So if you don't know what that is, it means that artists from across the country, we get over 300 applications every year. They have to submit 4 images of their work plus a photo of their booth shot. And then we have industry professionals who go through and score all of them based on technique, originality, professionalism,
That's a big
execution.
process.
It is. So then we narrow it down to 125 from there. What was your question? I forgot what you asked.
I don't know. I was just thinking of all the art I could find.
Good.
Not the tattoo, though. I'm not doing that.
That's
I'm
pretty
going to pass
extreme,
on.
yeah.
But the returning artists. So it is
so
juried.
thank you. So once we got done jurying, it was really exciting to look at. We have almost an exactly 50-50 balance of returning artists and new artists. So
Okay.
if you're someone who comes every year, I think the show will still feel very familiar. You'll see a lot
And
of
you
your
can find that
favorites.
favorite, right?
Exactly. The
Okay.
piece that you missed out last
Yes,
year.
for
Hopefully they'll
sure.
be back again and you
Yeah.
can get it. But then we also have all of these new artists that are from all over the country. And we just have a great balance too of just, cultural diversity, the different styles, different viewpoints. We even have an amazing generational spread. We have one artist who, she's 72 years old. She's been doing art fairs for decades, and it's her first time with us, which I think is so
Really?
neat. And then that tattoo artist I was mentioning, she was first with us 3 years ago
Okay.
as a part of our Emerging Artist Program, which is for artists just starting to do art fairs. She was 17, she was a sculpture artist, and since then she's established herself as a tattoo artist. So she's
Wow.
our 20-year-old tattoo artist.
Really? Yeah. And she'll be doing those right there. Okay.
Come watch.
Come
or-
watch, right?
Come on.
Come watch. Okay, so it kicks off Friday, goes obviously through Monday.
Correct.
Any family days, any specials? What's going on?
Well, if you're looking to get discount tickets until midnight today, you can get your tickets for $7 on the website.
Okay.
After that, Friday till 5 p.m. is always free. We do that every year. After 5 p.m. is $12, and for the rest of the weekend, it's $10 until 3, and then $12.
Okay, and of course the concerts, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's why. I mean, yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
like you can see a
amazing.
major concert and not have to pay those concert fees, right? So that's perfect. Okay, so kicks off what time Friday?
11 a.m.
Okay, so 11 a.m. And Royal Oak will be hopping,
Rogue will be happy.
and the carnival. The carnival is still there. Okay, so perfect. Anything else people need to know?
Well, I'm a mom as well. So I know you mentioned family.
Yep.
We have the Detroit News Kids Zone, which has a lot of free stuff for the kids. There's free inflatables, there's free crafts. And I'm also really excited the Detroit Institute of the Arts came in and they increased their donation this year so that they could underwrite the stage. So it's the Detroit Institute of Arts stage, and it's featuring really amazing cultural shows for the kids. So
Oh, that is
it's really
awesome.
something that you're just not going to find anywhere else, especially for your kids to experience really cool stuff. So.
And you know what's funny too is that it's so big that you kind of want to just spend the whole weekend there.
I mean, I
You
encourage
will.
people to. I will. And I mean, it is so big that like you almost need multiple days.
Right,
to even
right.
catch everything.
Which is so funny because Royal Oak doesn't seem that big. Oh, we're going to have you take that first.
Oh, hello.
So, yeah, I guess I'm excited about Royal Oak and the Arts Beats and Eats. Although say the full name for me, I don't want anyone to get in
Soaring
trouble.
Eagle Arts Beats and Needs presented by Flagstar. Thank you
so much.
Yeah.
All right, we will see you there this weekend. The Kids
Sounds
Zone,
great.
the Juried Art Show, all the fantastic food, and all the fantastic music. It is going to be awesome. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. I appreciate you joining
too.
us.
Thank
you. And again, Arts Beats and Eats kicks off on Friday, which is August 30th. This is Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. Thanks so much for being with us, of course. We have a lot going on. We've had a lot going on all summer, and we have a lot going on even in September. And somebody near and dear to my heart, of course, I'm going to call you Susie.
Okay.
Susie Strong.
Your hands are cold.
I know, my hands are cold. Susie Strong is with us, and Susie, you are with Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
I am.
And of course, the big walk is coming up. That is September 7th,
Yes.
Saturday in Royal Oak, new
In Royal
location.
Oak. It's at Normandy Park.
Yes.
We will be there at 7 in the morning, getting set up, getting everything going. Registration starts at 8:30 for the teams to check in. And hopefully, we're still asking for volunteers, more walkers, sponsorships. So,
We have time.
yeah, we definitely have
We
time.
definitely have
We got
time.
about a good week and a half, so to get things moving.
And you know,
This is
of
busy.
course, this is a big fundraiser.
Very big fundraiser, yes. Unfortunately, the teams are made up of the victims who lost a loved one in a drunk driving crash. And we try to make it a uplifting day.
Yes.
And not so much a very sad day.
And that's what I've always tried to, I MC these events, and I always
Right.
try to convey that, yes, it is sad because of the reason that we're all there. Of course, I've had a personal loss. Jason has had a personal loss. And while we remember our loved ones,
Yes.
we also celebrate them.
Yeah, we
right? We
celebrate,
celebrate
yes.
them, and we also celebrate the idea of ending these, these
Ending
casualties,
the
right?
casualties, the injuries. Statistics have been going up. We have the victim impact panels. We talk to first and second time offenders that have been arrested and are court ordered to attend. And Jason and I do one together in Royal Oak.
Royal Oak, yeah.
And we thought it would probably take about 4 months for it to take off with attendees.
Yeah.
And we are having, I think anywhere between 28, 35 people on a monthly basis
That show up for this.
that show up for that particular location.
Okay, so explain that for anyone, a VIP, right?
It's a victim impact panel to where first and second time offenders are arrested for drunk driving, and they are court ordered to attend a MAD victim impact panel.
And there's where they hear from.
They hear from a victim. They hear from a victim talking of what happened to them, how their life was before the crash, during the crash, and after the crash.
Right.
And obviously, working with the victims from a crash, it's not an easy task. And to make the first and second time offenders be more aware of their consequences of what could happen.
Right.
I know Jason and I have been really talking lately about, you make your arrangements to go out, what you're going to wear,
Where you're going.
But you have to include how are you getting home.
Correct.
And there's all sorts of ways to get home.
Right.
So
This is, we say it's a 100%.
it's 100% preventable. Yes.
And that's something that the walk is all about. Raising awareness, of course, raising money, super important.
Yes.
That is September 7th, and the QR code, we are actually, the show's actually joining Jason's Time Warp team, so that's what we're
Yes.
doing. There's the QR code right there. So even if you can't walk that day, you can still register and donate.
Donate, yeah.
The money goes for victim services and everything that you guys do, because
Yes.
you do help people navigate the court system.
Yeah,
I mean, there's so
through the
much.
court system, we're there for a victim no matter how long they need us.
Yep.
We don't charge them. We also have underage prevention programs, to where we can get into the junior highs and high school to talk to the kids about the drinking, to make the right choices. You know, they can sign a pledge that they won't drink until they're 21. But, you know, with the people that are of age, you have to include how you're going to get home. So many people don't do that, and the blood alcohol content in people lately have been anywhere from a 0.14 up to, was it 2 point something? We've been hearing people, how they're even walking
and
at
able
2
to get
point
into a
something.
car,
Yeah,
right?
Right.
Okay. Well, this is one way that we can help.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
it's always, it's always my pleasure to do whatever, whatever we can to get the word out there.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. September 7th.
September 7th, QR code, sign up, be
Normandy
there.
Park. Yes. Thank
Normandy
you.
Park. Oh, no, thank you, Susie. And again, that is Susie Strong. You can join us September 7th, and if you can't make it, just scan that QR code. And of course, one of the amazing things that has come out of our work with Mothers Against Drunk Driving is also the After Dark show, which raises awareness and also raises money for MADD as well. So again, if you can, please join us on September 7th. We'll be there. Well, this is Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen, and part of the aspect of this show, too, is to raise awareness for various nonprofits. And this month's Caffeinated Act of Kindness, we've been featuring Volunteers of America, Michigan, and thank you so much for being with us, of course, and Deandra Gourlay.
You got it.
Did I get it?
Yes, that was it.
I'm always like, thank you guys. It has been my pleasure to highlight you and to raise awareness for VOA of Michigan. And you guys do everything from veteran to help them find a new home if being evicted, food insecurity. There's just so much that you do. What is the greatest need that you guys are seeing right now?
Yeah, so there's so much happening in the veteran world. We provide services in 18 counties to veterans, so the lower third of Michigan. And really what we're seeing is an increased need of affordable housing and fast affordable housing. So when a veteran comes to us who's either losing their housing or already homeless, we work with them and their family to rehouse them, and our goal is within 90 days. Okay. Sometimes it takes a little longer depending on the housing market, but really that's the timeline we're working towards. And so we want to work with that veteran and their family to find safe, affordable, quality housing for them, and then ensure that when they move in, they have all their basic needs met. So we're providing household goods, beds, cookware, everything to get them settled.
Everything they need.
Yeah, and then we stay with them. So we provide resource navigation and services to get them connected to other resources to ensure that they don't experience homelessness again. We want to keep them in their housing for as long as possible and really ensure that they're set on a new path.
So it's not just, okay, here's the key.
Correct.
Good luck. I mean, you guys hang with them the whole time, right?
Yeah, so we stay with them for a long time, and we even have a program called Shallow Subsidy where our veterans can stay with us for up to 2 years, and we're providing long-term rental support in order to provide them an opportunity to save up, and maybe their goal is to buy a home, or maybe they're going to college to get a better education, to get a better job, and so we provide that long-term rental assistance to ensure stability during that period.
And I can imagine that sometimes veterans, we honor them, but sometimes it doesn't go that way for them.
Yeah, that transition out of military service is so hard. They're in this time frame where everything is regimented. They're told what to do. They're told when to eat, when to get up, how to make the bed, how to do everything. And then when they exit the service, they don't have that routine, and they often don't have support back home, and they don't have someone who understands what they've gone through. And so that transition period can really be hard. And if we don't intervene right then we see, years, decades later where life has just slid in a totally different direction than they probably intended. So we want to try and intervene like when they exit service, but, unfortunately there are veterans out there that, were missed. And so we're helping them now.
And that's what's so important. But if a veteran needs help, how do they reach out to you?
Yeah, so they can go on our website, voami.org/veterans, or call us at 877-509-VETS, VETS.
Can a family member reach out if if there's a veteran in their life that needs help?
Yeah, absolutely. And we have a variety of services. So housing, suicide prevention, food insecurity, and also just case management as needed. Maybe a veteran's not facing housing eviction, but they're just having challenges maintaining housing. We can provide services for that.
And you did mention the SERVE program, which is very important as well. And people can reach out if they're needing help.
Yep, veterans and active duty members.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, listen, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure to work with you guys this month. I appreciate everything that you do.
We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And again, that is Deandra Gourlay from Veterans of America, Michigan. This is Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen, and it is time. Oh, Jason Waldron's here. Hi. Hi, how are you?
Good.
Okay, so let's talk about this super quick. This is our August giveaway.
What is in here?
A lot of stuff is in here.
Look it up.
People, I know, I love those socks. Aren't they so cute? Car socks, because
Car
we're
socks.
celebrating all things classic cars.
Because every car show in the world is happening
It's
this
happening
month.
and has happened in August. So yeah,
Yep.
so it is so awesome. So how do people enter to win? Because they still can.
They still can. You can on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Just underneath the post, what you want to do is you want to tag 3 friends, comment. You want to share the post, and you want to like the page. And we will pick the winner at the end of the month.
September 9th,
September
right?
9th, we
next
will
week
announce
is Labor
it.
Day.
Exactly.
So yeah, so thank you so much. So we,
And it was so much fun yesterday.
Oh yeah, Saturday.
Or
At
Saturday.
the Hot Wheels Marysville, we met Eric Estrada. He loved
Yeah.
me, I'm just saying.
And we got to judge the pinup contest.
We
it was
did,
just
and
a
they
lot
were
of
all
fun.
beautiful, and that was so fun. I can't wait. I think I'm gonna start dressing like that.
You should. I think
know,
it'd be
right?
fabulous.
So awesome.
Throwback, right?
Exactly. So, all right. Well, we've got this, and what?
May I say something about the MAD
Yes,
real
of
quick?
course.
I've been doing it for 5 years now with them, and it is true that we both have lost loved ones due to it, but it is a fun event. It is a fun event. It is for fun. Nobody's going to stand around and cry. Well, there might be, but it's going to be tears of joy, remembrance. So it's going to be fun.
And it's for a good cause.
It
And,
is for
we
a
just
good
try
cause.
to actually, we do this because we don't want anyone else to go through what we've gone through.
No, not at
Right?
all.
So that's the whole deal.
So yes.
So we are crashing your team this year.
Yes, you are. I'm excited
We are
about it.
joining your team, and the QR code is up there to join the walk.
Yep.
Right? And
Yeah.
all right. Thanks so
I'm
much,
excited.
man. I'm excited.
So much going on.
So much going on. I think the car stuff's almost over.
Yes, then it's September, and we'll
And
be
it's
starting all
September, and
over
we're
again.
Starting all over. Okay, well, next time we see you, you will be a year older. So
I will be.
you will be a year older. So happy birthday in
Yours
advance.
is coming up too.
Yeah, let's
so.
not talk about that. All right.
Mine's next week,
Yours,
so,
yes, yours
yeah.
is Friday. So we'll go to Arts, Beats, and Eats
Oh, sounds
to
good.
celebrate, right?
Yes, for
Sounds
the
fun.
month
All
I
right,
am
we
older
got
than
this.
you.
We got this settled, right? All right, well, a big thank you to everyone who's been with us. Of course, a big thank you to our live studio audience, also to My Michigan TV, Dave Scott and his team, Jared and David and Joel, Christopher, all of them out here in the studio with us. Thank you. We appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out with us on this Monday. We'll see you next week. Have a good one. Thanks.
Bye, you
Bye-bye.
guys.